North Portland families are saying, it's scary living here. They're looking at selling their homes to escape the homeless encampments and the crime associated with it. We're going to do a deep dive on this. We're going to take a look at the active listings that are in the area, proximity to this homeless encampment along this drive. See what we got going on. Are homes being discounted? How much do you have to discount homes to get them to sell close to an encampment? That's the question that somebody raised with me. How do you sell this stuff? Hey, come on, buy my home. You know, there's a little bit of an encampment there, but it's all okay. They're mostly peaceful. It's scary. North Portland families sell their homes to escape homeless camps and crime. Homeless camps along the Peninsula Crossing Trail have prompted some nearby families to sell their homes. And we've actually got a quote here from a real estate agent. This is the first time I have seen a real estate agent quoted in relation to, okay, you know what? This is getting tricky. And this real estate agent basically, I think she's a 10-year veteran, and she basically says, yeah, we need to vet now whether homes are in proximity to the homeless encampments. Because obviously, and this is something nobody wants to talk about, oh, geez, where's that house located? Is there an encampment across the street? Is there, are people slumming it out on the sidewalk? What's going on? Real estate agents now are vetting these areas because it impacts marketability. It just does. Value or marketability, those are the two major components in an appraisal. If you have a homeless encampment out on the street in front of your home, that is a form of external depreciation, and you can't do anything about it for now, right? So yeah, you've got a form of external depreciation when you've got proximity to a homeless encampment. I mean, everybody knows it, but we haven't had a lot of analysis of how much does it actually impact. Well, which portion of the encampment is it? Is it the really violent side? Is it it's a little bit more family oriented here. We do some cookouts all together as one big happy family. You've got some of those things to consider, but the major consideration is you've just got proximity to that encampment. Therefore, you're going to have people rummaging around the neighborhood, stealing stuff, and you're going to have that impact. You're going to have the needles, you're going to have the garbage, you're going to have the trash. Not all of them, but most of them, and especially this one. So for sale signs line what were once sought after neighborhoods in North Portland, many families are selling their homes due to an increase in violence and homeless encampments in that area. It makes you not feel great about living here, said Greg Dilkes, who has lived in North Portland for 30 years. It makes living in the neighborhood harder, not as congenial as it could be. I mean, that is a standard undersell, isn't it? No, it sucks. You don't want to live in close proximity to a homeless encampment at all. You got people there that are not in their right frame of mind. You got people there that are just loaded on drugs, doing crazy stuff. You want to live close to that? No. And if you don't, how much do you have to discount your home to get it sold? Is it 10%? Is it 15%? I haven't been able to analyze enough data in market areas where this has been a real thing because unlike Portland, Seattle, we've kind of swept our homeless encampments more often. So you've got an area that, goes from terrible to overnight. It's pretty clean there. It's all right. So you've got people coming in and buying and selling during those time periods. It's like, what if you tried to sell your home during CHOP? And I, looked at a lot of the homes in that area. You got some $1 million homes in there. I mean, you've got, it's a highly desirable area. I know. Of Seattle. It's Capitol Hill. It's a great location, and you got some housing in there that's very expensive. How much would you have had to discount those homes during CHOP to get it sold? Hey, there's no police services here, and you can't really get, an EMT service in here. And, we've had a couple of shootings, but beyond that, it's a solid neighborhood. Look at the proximity to downtown Seattle. This is an easy sell. I want you to make an offer, right? I mean, that's just not going to work, when you got CHOP going on and you're like, okay, what are the enormous concrete barriers doing up? And then you've got all this street art, graffiti going on, and there's just a general lack of adulthood in the area right now. What is going on? And that's why homeowners in CHOP and business owners literally have, there's multiple lawsuits ongoing because the city basically went derelict on their duties to provide basic public safety during that time. Homeowners in Portland are saying the same thing. Yeah, it's not good. We're going to have to sell. So Dyke said the homeless camps along the Peninsula Crossing Trail, that's what we're going to focus on, near his home have changed the area. No kidding. No kidding. It's the first time in a long time that we've actually seriously thought about moving, he said. You know, most of these areas, people really like these areas. There's areas of Ballard that have been overrun with homelessness. People love Ballard. When I was younger and appraising heavily, it was this great Norwegian fishing community type thing. Lots of bungalows, great place to raise a family, great place to have kids, decent schools, really close to downtown Seattle, close in. But now you've just got this element of, it's okay, anything goes. You do have a lot of breweries a lot of microbrews in Ballard. And I really like that. I think that's cool. But that's because I'm going in and then I am leaving as soon as I've had a couple of beers and I'm going to go, back to whatever I'm doing, which is not in Ballard, right? So I'm out of there. Mental health, drug addiction, and just not having access to housing, added Mark Smith, who shares a backyard with the camps. Okay, so what I did in my search and kind of my background information for this podcast, I pulled up Zillow. Do not do this if you are a consumer and you actually want to buy and or sell your home. This is for interest only. Always contact a licensed real estate broker with experience that can get you the information you need if you need to make a decision. Don't go on Zillow and go, this is good data, because oftentimes it is not. But it is a point in time reference, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. So there are no homes. If you're able to see this on YouTube, the green line that I'm pointing at here is, I think it's a couple miles long, maybe 1.5 miles long, and it's a trail. And on that trail, just loaded up with homeless encampments, just tents, garbage, you name it. You know the drill. There are no homes right on the trail, even though they're for sale anyway. The closest homes are maybe 1.5 blocks off, 2 blocks off. And what we can see is you've got a $20,000 price drop on one that's close. You've got a $15,000 price drop on another one that is geographically close. You've got a $25,000 price drop on another one that's within a couple of blocks, and none are near, like within, a couple hundred feet. There are no homes for sale along this stretch. So that's what this realtor is going to be saying here in a second, is that, we're having to vet this because homeowners know it's going to be a brutal time and they're going to have to discount their home so much to get a sale, because the only person that's going to be willing to sell and buy and occupy a home, why would you go and buy that one if you can go buy one a few blocks away that doesn't have the impact? You're going to want a deep discount for that, right? Because of all the craziness associated with it. You got squatters, you got drugs, you got prostitution, you got garbage, you got needles, you got theft, robbery, assault in the area. All that goes with it. So is that a 25% discount? I don't know, but there aren't any homes that are on the market right there. That tells me something. And then the homes that are the closest to it are not selling and they're being discounted. Now, you might say, since we're reasonable, you might say, okay, but that's because the market's gone through a little bit of a slowdown. It's summertime. People in the Pacific Northwest aren't out doing a crazy amount of business, home selling during this time period, because we're in that short window in the Pacific Northwest where we've got this epic weather and we're close to having kids go back to school. So a lot of folks have taken themselves out of the marketplace in real estate because they want to enjoy their last few days of actual summer before we go back to the doom and gloom that is known as Portland and Seattle for about 10.5 months a year. So you've got that. But the data shows here that no homes along this area for sale. That tells me something right there. There's homes either side of it, fair number of homes for sale. But right along this stretch, you got none. And the ones that are, they're discounting their prices, because why would you buy those when you can go get a similar home? It's the value principle of substitution, right? If you can buy one for here and you can buy this one for here and they're the same price and one has an impact to it, well, the one with the impact, what are you going to do to get that thing sold? You're going to discount the price. Everything will sell at a price that is appropriate. Somebody will buy it for sure. They always do. No matter what the issue is, you just got to keep dropping that. And then you find out, okay, what is the discount? I'm guessing the discount is 15%, maybe 20%. And that might not seem like a lot, but in a Portland market where these homes, a lot of them are 600, 540, 560, 530, 405, 520, 679, 485, 500. Those are all the list prices for these homes. So, you're $500,000. So you discount that bad boy 20 grand, you go from $500,000 to 400. And the issue is we don't have any real data. And if I was able to access the MLS, I'd be able to tell you exactly, all right, this one here is within 2 blocks. This one's within a block. So differential is this, based on match pair analysis, real estate appraisal concept that tells you exactly how much things are discounted or, buyers are paying for a specific feature. You got a home that's identical to another home selling in the same time period, but one's got a garage and one doesn't. The price difference theoretically should be that. So you've definitely got a discount going on with this neighborhood. And it doesn't surprise me at all because it's a location, external negative influence. Nobody wants to live there. Why would you? Well, maybe you like to hand out food to the homeless. All right, that's your thing. Then you go do it and you pay full retail for that bad boy. And we'll just kind of see how that goes. So we've got Smith said he and his partner often don't feel safe walking alone or tending to their gardens. Every day, if you go from one end of the street to the other, you're confronting some very difficult situations. Here's the soft spin. People in really dire straits. You got crazy people that are living on the streets, and Portland elected officials are just like, yeah, but, we're just going to let them do their thing. It's Portland. Keep it weird, right? So that's literally what you've got going on. It's a little scary because I know there is mental illness, and that concerns me, said Smith's partner, Maria Inocencio. We're the most harmless people you'll ever meet, said T.T. Sanchez, who lives in one of the camps along the Peninsula Crossing Trail. All right, but, I read a lot of the news stories coming out of the homeless encampments. And they're not harmless. You might have individuals that are living there that are harmless, but there are also individuals living there that are wildly the opposite. They are dangerous. They are crazy. They've got guns. They are, the drill. I mean, we just know this to be the truth. They shouldn't be scared of us. This is a homeless person saying they shouldn't be scared of us for what? Because we live outside? No, they're scared of you because of the elements of crime and just craziness that goes on that most homeowners don't want to deal with, especially when you're living there illegally. But, in Portland, you've got so much of it going on that it's just kind of become the norm. And so now real estate agents are literally vetting neighborhoods. All right, how close is it to the nearest encampment? All right, that's not good. I don't know. That's the only reason you should be scared of us, because we live outside. No, that's not true. So if we lived in 4 walls and a house and stuff, would you still be scared of us? If you still had the same activities going on, yes, that would be called the trap house. If you lived in that house and had the same thing going on, that would be the trap house where everybody's like, oh yeah, they sell drugs out of there. And they got a lot of girls and guys coming in and out. Not really sure what's going on. There seems to be a rotation that goes through there. And looks like they've got some drug dealing going on and, stolen goods. That's what people are afraid of, not because you live in a tent. It's all the other stuff that you bring along with that. North Portland neighbors told KGW at least 3 families along McKenna Avenue are leaving due to nearby homeless camps. All right. I will be very interested to see what those are listed for and if they are marketable. That is a real question because sometimes sellers are not willing to drop the price to get it to move. We've got a slowdown going on right now. You got a slowdown. You had interest rates just skyrocket and then they've come back down. They doubled in a very short period of time. Rates have come down significantly, but not enough to really offset the sticker shock that a lot of buyers have had. And this neighborhood is, it's not $1 million neighborhood. It's a $500,000 neighborhood, it looks like. And so buyers in that market, interest rates are very, very important, and it has cut down their ability to purchase. So you're going to have a major impact one way or the other. And then you throw some homeless encampments on top of that. Yeah, it's going to be a tough market. Real estate broker Lauren LaQuinta sees it firsthand. I would say the migration to the suburbs, I've seen quite a bit in the last 2 years, she said. See, she's not saying people getting away from the homeless encampments. She's spinning it. They're going from here and they're attracted to the suburbs. Why is that? Because you don't have this nonsense going on, right? You just don't. Most people don't want to have to worry about if they can leave their car parked in their driveway overnight without maybe having it broken into. It's a pretty testy subject because you've got homeless encampments with people who are on drugs and they need to break into your car, steal something, go pawn it, and get their next fix. That's just what we've got going on. And people don't want to talk about. People selling real estate don't really want to talk about that. Why? Because then you're confronted with having an element in your neighborhood that makes it harder to sell real estate. It's like the cat's out of the bag. All right. I guess we're going to have to address this. And this is one of the first articles I've seen in major media where they have gotten into, all right, real estate agents are recognizing that there's external depreciation going on because of the homeless encampments. When working with clients, LaQuinta now vets the areas to see if there are nearby homeless camps. Yeah. And they're vetting them because they just want to know where they are so they can, put them on a marketing map and say homeless encampment here. No, they need to know how close is it? How bad is the homeless encampment? They're going to do some research because they're going to need to discuss that with their sellers and any questions that come up. All right. So how many people have been shot? Well, here's what you got. How many fires have come out of this homeless encampment? Well, let's take a look and let's run through the numbers. Those are legit questions. What's the crime rate due to this physical proximity of this neighborhood being close to the homeless encampments? What's the crime rate here relative to somewhere else? All legit questions if you're going to be buying a home. And, that's why this is where you get into an issue where if you try and sell a home in a normal neighborhood by yourself as a seller, you might get away with it. But if you got a home next to an encampment, you're going to have to do some marketing and you're going to want a professional to handle that for you because there's going to be some liability. Hey, you didn't really tell us about the homeless encampment right around the corner. We got our house broken into 3 times and we had this, and this situation going on. What's up with that? You didn't really disclose that. What happened? So, there's something called a neighborhood review where you can take a walk around. And if you don't like something in the neighborhood, you can kill the deal. Now, if you've been looking at homes in an area, you're going to drive around and you're going to, if you're especially in Portland, but if maybe you're an out of town sight unseen buyer and you're looking in Portland, and, you're not really aware of that homeless encampment 2 blocks down and 1 to the right, that kind of situation. There's some liability in there, right? So when working with clients, LaQuinta now vets the areas to see if they're nearby homeless camps. It's neighborhood by neighborhood. But along this stretch where this peninsula trail is, you got no homes for sale. Yeah, that tells you something right there, right? So I think people are holding off for as long as they can because to sell during peak homeless encampment, when that's going on, you're going to have to do peak discount, right? That's just how it goes. You can be driving through North Portland and you're in this lovely area where there's no issues. And then you make a turn around the corner and have homeless camps there. First time I've heard a real estate agent actually verbalize this. We know it's all going on. But this is really interesting. And she goes on to say, it's kind of sad. I've been doing this for 10 years here in Portland, and it's changed quite a bit. People are saying that left and right. Hey, I'm a holdout in the city of Portland. I really love Portland, but it's got some areas right now that, are not doable. If you're reasonable, they're not doable. So you're going to see some pretty good sized discounts going on and people selling some homes that maybe wouldn't have otherwise. And I blame the city of Portland and its leadership for this kind of thing happening because now its citizens are being negatively impacted for something that could have been prevented. But instead, it's okay. Guys, just do your thing. It's all right. I'm sure it'll all work out. Oh, geez. Yeah, our citizens are getting pissed because they can't sell their homes and they want out. Yeah. Well, anywho, how about those trailblazers? The city is planning to build a safe rest village along Peninsula Crossing Trail where many homeless campers in the area could go. That's not good. That's not good at all. Some would say, activists would say, it's the greatest thing ever. No, you're just creating a slum. You're just creating a slum. That's what you're doing. But there's no timeline for when that project will be completed. And when it is completed, it will be a temporary village that will only be there for about 3 years. What kind of planning is this? After that, there are plans for a permanent affordable housing development to take its place. We've got lots of plans, nothing going on. In the meantime, you got citizens going, would you buy my house, please? I need out. I want to move to the burbs. That's literally what they're saying, right? As for the people currently camping along the trail, the city's Safe Rest Village team said Portland's impact reduction program outreach workers and navigation teams have visited weekly. All right, just saying hi, just popping in and, maybe bringing them some coffee because you're certainly not getting them housing. And that's since before the Safe Rest Village was announced to offer them services and shelter options and other resources to meet their immediate needs. The big deal is that most of these folks living in these campings, they don't want to take the city offer because they don't want to have to live within a confining set of rules. And confining to them is any rules at all. They want to be living in a tent, doing their own thing, depreciating homeowners' values. That's not their end goal, but that's what they want to do is just they want to be on their own, doing their own crazy stuff that they've got going on. Additionally, the Safe Rest Village team has met with some of the campers and many have expressed interest in the outdoor shelter model. Of course they have, because then they'd still just be doing the same thing they'd be doing, right? I mean, is there much of a difference here? I'm not really sure. So that is what we've got going on. It sounds like this article is, it sounds like you've got a number of people that have been holding out and are going to be putting their homes in the market. So I'm going to keep an eye on that Peninsula Trail, just kind of see, hey, is there a trend to having a bunch of homes come on? Because maybe it's just gotten to that point where during the pandemic where we didn't do any sweeps at all. And I know a lot of these encampments got, considerably worse. They really degenerated during the pandemic because we weren't doing any sweeps. The CDC said no sweeps because we don't want to spread the Rona, even though the CDC has wildly backtracked on all of their criteria for what to do with coronavirus, right? I mean, I don't know if you've seen that lately, but it is, you look at it and you go, what? This is exactly what I was saying to do like 2.5 years ago. And the CDC is saying to do it now. Like kids who are exposed to it don't have to leave school. You treat the vaccinated the same as the unvaccinated. I mean, just all this stuff that makes you kind of think, oh, so it is just like the flu. Huh. Interesting. It took out the weak. It took out those with, pre-existing conditions. And now we're left with what it sounds like the CDC is describing as the flu. So you've got that kind of thing going on, right? I mean, you got some craziness going on, but it'll be interesting to see, okay, when there are news articles of, this is what we had to drop this house to, this price, price of this home to, because, like I was discussing with somebody, who's going to buy it? Probably an investor. They're going to bet on the that down the road, this area will turn around. They're going to bet on the city of Portland cleaning things up. Good luck with that. I mean, that's not probably a terrible bet, but I just wouldn't want to deal with the nonsense associated with living in close proximity to one of these homeless encampments. To me, that is a major, major no-no. I just want to, my family or anybody living with me, I don't have anybody living with me right now, but, have people come over. It's okay. They're mostly peaceful, but lock your car up. You got any good stuff in your car? Okay. Yeah. Go put it in the house. Cause, they're going to look through your windows and sometimes they'll bash your window out, but it's mostly safe. We're mostly good here. I mean, But we are looking to move to the burbs. So there's that. Yeah. How much longer are you going to live here, Sean? I don't know. How soon's my house going to sell? You've got instances like that. And there's obviously going to be people who are just like, it's Portland. It's weird. We're okay with that. We're okay with our unhoused neighbors. Some people are, and that's their call. And they are the ones that, make the neighborhood kind of, have a little bit of stability, but they also allow this to come in and be part of their neighborhood because they don't have that pushback. They don't have that pushback of, hey, not in our neighborhood. You're not doing that. Whereas you can't really have that happen way out in the suburbs because you don't have all the services. You don't have all the freebies. You don't have all the good stuff. And the police in the suburbs typically don't tolerate it nearly as much as the inner city police do because there's less of them, closer in, and they are just running from one crisis to the next. They don't have the time to deal. And city leadership has basically said, yeah, we're just going to do spot sweeps every now and then. What we're going to do is the worst of the crime. Yeah, we're going to sweep that. So as a shooting happens, we're going to sweep out that encampment. I mean, I read about that almost daily in Seattle where, hey, yep, Bruce Harrell, he swept another encampment because he had to, because somebody got shot, because somebody took a shot at somebody else. A couple of nights ago, I think it was, I'm reading this to you on a Tuesday. I think it was like Saturday night at 12:30. This kid, probably in his 30s, is playing basketball at Cal Anderson Park. That's the basketball courts in CHOP. If you look at any of my footage, I've got a bunch of stuff in there. They play a lot of basketball there. I mean, there's some good basketball played there. And there was a 12:30 a.m. There was a discussion as to what was going on. There was an argument. Somebody got out a gun and capped this, I don't know, was he 31, 32, 33-year-old kid? Killed him. His life was ended over a discussion on a basketball court. So you've got stuff like that going on that, when you've got that in your backyard, that is not necessarily a neighborhood amenity, let's just say. And so you're going to have folks that are going to want to move out of those areas. And what's it going to take to sell their homes? You have to drop those prices. You have to do some special marketing. You're going to have to focus on the good and overcome some of the buyer's objections. What's that down at the end of the street there? It looks like a tent. Well, yeah, those are urban campers. They're working on their outdoor skills during summer. I wouldn't worry about them. They're pretty, they're mostly, why is there so much garbage in the street and on the sidewalk? Well, city hasn't come by to clean up lately. Mind if we walk around? Yeah, that's fine, but don't walk that way. How about you walk that way? Let's go away from the homeless encampments. Saying the quiet words out loud, right? This is a reality. It's a reality that folks near these encampments are gonna have to deal with. You just don't have a choice. What's it going to what's the discount going to be? Get that bad boy home sold. That's, within visual distance of the homeless encampment. It's going to take something. Don't know. But as this story continues, and it will, you're going to have some people that are just going to be screaming bloody murder. We can't sell our homes. I'll report that for you right here on News for Reasonable People. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.